What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Underwater Fly Zone podcast. We have a random episode here today with me and Macy. Carson, see you later, bro. See ya. And we have Maverick on the pod here today. I'm pretty tired. It's been a pretty crazy last couple of weeks. The month of March has been nuts. And I think me and Macy just want to start doing episodes again. I mean,
yes,
why
definitely.
not? You know,
we got a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do have a lot to talk about. Maverick, you have something to say? He just licks the mic.
People probably did not like that.
that was my dog licking the mic for anybody listening on Spotify.
He gave a kiss.
He did. But all right, so basically here's what I'm trying to say right now. The views on the podcast season 6 are so far down and the engagement is at an all-time low. So I'm just kind of over putting time into it, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm a little frustrated with myself because I haven't had the time to really put much promotion towards season 6. Like, you guys have not seen any Instagram reels, any YouTube shorts. I don't have time. Like, straight up, I just don't have time. There's one person that really engages. Shout out Anna. Everybody knows who it is. Shout out to Anna. She's always, following the challenges, commenting feedback, just like we like. That's why we do this, is for that engagement. And it's only Anna, for real. So again, shout out to Anna. And we love you, Anna. We love you, Anna. And I just think that if Anna's gonna be the only one engaged, she said she liked episodes with me and you the best. So I just want to start doing weekly episodes, and I'm kind of joking. It's not just because of Anna. We do love Anna, but I think that on a real note, I just like doing episodes just me and you.
I do too.
The most, anyways, and I feel like it's good for us.
Well, and it is. It's like a therapy session.
Literally, we
just always have so much to talk about, and I think that the good stuff that we have that we say behind the scenes, we want to bring to light, because we've had a lot of people say they really enjoy the relationship advice and just can relate to us as a Christian couple, and just living in the time now, just how we have flourished in our relationship and marriage, and it's definitely different from the world, and I think that a lot of people really respect that, and I think that this will be a great episode too.
Yeah, I think it will. We don't really have a whole lot of a plan for this episode. The biggest thing I want to say is that if you want this podcast to continue, if you want the Underwater Fly Zone podcast to continue, we have to have engagement. If it's just Anna, we're just gonna start having phone calls with Anna, for real, because it takes so much time and so much money to invest into this equipment, into this studio, but especially it takes so much time to come up with a plan for what you want to say on a podcast, then to record the podcast, then to edit the podcast, post the podcast. There's so much that goes into it where I have other things going on, full-time. I work a full-time job. The clothing brand side of this is its own full-time job. I basically have worked every day in the past 2 months. I don't think I've had a day off besides literally yesterday. Mm-hmm. Yesterday was my first day off in 2 months, and it's I'm willing to do that. I love working. I love building. I love that. I love what I just said. I'm glad I've been working hard, and I've been finding some time to rest too, because the Bible does call us to rest. But all I'm trying to say is that I'm busy. I have a lot going on, and if the podcast is not gonna have engagement, I could use my time better in other avenues than doing weekly episodes. We might just bump down to 1 or 2 episodes a month if there's gonna be no real engagement. So yeah, basically, interact with us, y'all. Interact with us, y'all. It's gonna be a great time. There's so much we can make, so much of an impact through this podcast. It's just got to be a community. It's no fun doing this alone, And
Definitely agree.
So another thing I want to say is, another thing that's had me unmotivated about podcasts, which this is kind of a bad reason to be unmotivated, I guess, but I feel like scrolling on Instagram, I just see the most corny clips of people talking on a podcast, and it's why do these people even have a mic? It's I've always heard the saying, everybody has a podcast. And I think that that's true now more than ever. Just random people giving random advice. And I'm just it's just corny, I was I'm just over like seen podcast clips. So I've been unmotivated to make my own, unless it's something that's really, really powerful, which our last couple episodes have been good, but there's been nothing that I'm like, people really need to hear this on Instagram, I guess you could say. But we've made clips before that people did need to hear, like the one about saving for marriage that got over 4 million views between everything. The story of, losing Kyle, there's some big clips that we've put out, but I'm not interested in putting anything out that's not like very valuable. I don't want to just be putting out random junk. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Quality more than quantity.
Yes. And it used to just be quantity. It was like I had a time where I was like, I'm posting a reel every single day. I was disciplined to it. I did it for like 4 or 5 months. It grew our page pretty well, but I'm just tired of seeing junk, and I don't want to be putting out any junk. So that's why I want it to be me and you doing podcasts, because we tend to say some really good stuff, and we have different views that the world needs to hear. Because that's another thing. A lot of the stuff we hear on the internet is not only just random junk, it's also horrible advice at times. So I don't know. I'm excited to start doing podcasts with us again.
I know.
Basically.
I'm so excited, and I think that this will also not just like help the YouTube and the brand, but I think this is really good for a marriage too. Like, and if you're in a relationship, just talking to each other. Like, we start this podcast with, okay, we don't know what we're going to talk about, but somehow we always bring up so much stuff from that we're like thinking about and like deep within, like to just bring to life. And it's so cool to like connect and like doing this, and knowing that people are listening.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what we talk about.
It will be cool. And I think one more thing I want to say about the engagement I was just trying to talk about. I kind of like interrupted myself, and I'm kind of rusty with podcasts, so
Me too.
Sorry if I do that. But I want you guys to be the ones giving us the topics. Like, that would take a lot of pressure off of us to come up with good topics, and it would be perfect because we want to talk about what you guys want to hear about. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys have stuff you want to hear about, like, do an episode strictly over saving for marriage. Do an episode strictly over how to date, or just random topics. Maybe you have a different topic. How do you run a clothing brand? We could, honestly, you could talk to it just like I can.
Like as a wife.
Yes.
Like perspective.
And these are topics that we will probably do regardless whether you ask us to or not. But give us your ideas, y'all. Like, please give us your ideas. I'm telling y'all, like, I sit here and ask you guys to comment topics that you want us to talk about, and you guys hear me say this, and if you don't actually go to the comments and comment something, that brings us back to our original point where, I know Anna's going to drop a comment. You're probably going to go to the comment section and see, I can't say her last name. Maybe I can. Anna Flesner.
Yeah, something like that.
You're going to see Anna Flesner, sorry if I said your name wrong, but you're going to see her comment down there, and then what are you guys going to do? Are you guys going to drop a comment and help us stay engaged and feel like there's actually real purpose behind this podcast? Or are you not going to drop a comment, and then we're going to think, hey, we might be best served to doing another thing? Because we want to make an impact, but there's no real impact being made if literally no one really is listening or cares about the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to make podcasts regardless, like these guest episodes, because half of this, I would say 80% of the podcast we do to make an impact, 20% I do to help promote small businesses, because that's also making an impact in their lives. Like, I feel like every small business needs a good podcast episode. So, like, that's another way I see this podcast making an impact, is by doing guest episodes. And we could do that regardless. Like, I'll always do guest episodes as long as this is a thing. But, and those episodes always do well. But it's the ones where we're sitting down and have to, plan out a topic, record it correctly, make it sound professional, like make it sound impactful, post it. It's like, those are the ones that take the most time, and those are the ones that get like 50 views and like one comment from her, maybe two, maybe 3, Macy, my mom, and Anna. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you're a listener, if you really enjoy this podcast, please help us start engaging. Like, just engage with the content. So not trying to be like not trying to be like a jerk. I don't think it sounds like a jerk, but it's just a lot of work, y'all. I'm telling you.
And also, like, those big podcasts, like celebrities that don't even probably look at the comments or have time. Like, we are growing, and we're still like small. We care like about whatever you guys say, and we genuinely look at every single comment. in every share, and we make sure to show you guys that we notice you, like when you post things and when you have recommendations. So if you have anything that you want him to talk about, or us as like a couple, married couple, then definitely drop it in the comments, because we want to start
Definitely.
making a lot more episodes together, just like random ones. It's not going to be like it's every Tuesday we're posting, but pretty
Yeah.
much just whenever we feel like God put it on our hearts to talk about this. And I think this topic that we're going to talk about today is definitely something that a lot of people need to hear.
Definitely. And this kind of goes, this is like, it could sound contradicting to what I just said, but you talked about the big podcasts out there. I have no desire to be a huge podcast with 500,000 listens every time. Like, I like that we get 100, 200, 300 plays. I don't care to get thousands of plays per episode. Thousands would be okay, but like tens of thousands, I don't really want to be big like that. Like, honestly, I kind of like us staying small, but there's a point where we're so small that it feels like, I feel like if I just dedicated the time that I spend on the podcast, just dedicate all that time to doing the clothing brand, we might make more of an impact through the clothing brand. It needs to be like a happy middle ground, I guess
Yeah.
you could say. Like back in the old days, we do podcast episodes. People were engaged, people loved it, and it was perfect. I was like 100 plays, 10 comments of engaged people. People reaching out, telling us that it's impactful. I was like, okay, we're really doing something. But and last thing I want to say is that this is not your guys' fault at all. 100%, 100%. The reason the podcast is in the state it's in right now is 100% because of me and kind of because of her, because we got married and we dipped, like straight up. And then even before that, when I was in school, I kept making commitments. I'm like, I made a commitment. It was January of last year. I was like, we're doing this whole year, 2024, we're doing a podcast a week. Every single week, we'll be doing a podcast. And like 3 weeks in, that commitment ended. And that really kind of hurt the podcast viewership. I feel like whenever you make a commitment and then you break it, people are like, all right, this dude's a fraud. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't really a fraud. I was kind of I just made a commitment that was way over my head, like way too much. But we're not making a commitment like that now. We're just gonna be doing episodes when we can. But yeah, sorry about that. I just want you guys to know it's all my fault, for real. I'm the one that kind of screwed our viewership up because of making commitments and not following through. But you know, if you guys want to help build this back up with us, we can definitely do that. It's just a matter of like, I don't know. It's just a matter of doing it.
Yeah,
at this point.
discipline
Yeah.
and making time for it.
So yeah, this is my fault. Not mad at any of y'all. I completely understand. If I was trying to support some guy and he kept making commitments that he's doing this and then he doesn't follow through, I'd probably move on as well. But for all y'all that are still here, and because I know there's people, I know we get 30 plays at least on an episode, so that's 30 people. I know there's people out there that are loyal supporters that have just never reached out. Like they watch, they just don't reach out. I'm just telling you guys, reach out, let us know that you're there, and help us to know that like we're not wasting our time doing this, because we have a ton of stuff we could be doing to make an impact. And if this is not one of them, then I'm not trying to spend time on it every single week. I'd rather just move it down to like a once a month type of thing.
Yeah.
But
You ready to get into it?
yes. All right. Let's start with like a life update. Obviously, we got our first dog.
His name's Maverick, and he is, oh my gosh, today we've had him for 1 month.
No way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But he is 4 months and a couple weeks old, and he's the best little baby. And he's growing so much each day. Like, he is so funny. He just got little boo-boo on his eye because Foster and him were playing this morning.
Yeah, I'm a little crazy with him.
Yeah, and I'm not. This is why he, like, lays on me, and then he'll play with Foster. But it's funny.
Yeah, Maverick's awesome. He's been keeping us busy. And then everything else in life has been keeping us busy too. This past month, we took 2 trips out to Dallas. By we, I mean me and the boys, the travel squad. Jack Carson went once, and then Brock Johnson, shout out Brock Johnson, he went once as well. We met some great people out in Dallas. Shout out Classic Cowboy. Had to represent. Man, it's been crazy. Like, we spread the brand to, honestly, thousands of people out there in Dallas. And it's just been unreal. And what I love about taking trips to do pop-ups is that every single sale, every single one of them, you're reaching somebody that you probably never would have reached without making that trip. We heard some crazy stories. We had people crying in the booth, telling us stories. We always love that vulnerable moment with supporters. We also did a 4-day pop-up called Kansas City Fashion Week. We went out to Mizzou. We did that. And on top of all of that, I've been working 40, 50-hour weeks. You've been teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And like I told you guys, I have not had any days off. It's probably why you could tell I'm kind of tired.
I'm tired every day.
Yeah.
So, first year teacher, but if my kids are listening, I don't know if they are, some of them might, then hey guys.
Yeah, they're probably
We're
going to
almost
find
to,
it.
well, we already did spring break, but we're almost to Easter break. We got this.
Dude, it's been, time's been flying, but
Yeah.
it's been great. Like, life has been great, and I've been really trying to remain grateful for everything because we're also in this season of life in our 20s where we're trying to build and trying to create our future and all this
Yes.
stuff.
That is a little stressful as well.
Yeah, and that's also a little gateway into what we're talking about today.
Mhm.
You want to take it away?
What do you want me to start with? Do you want me to start
Just start with whatever you want to start with.
Okay, so, so I am teaching 6th grade math and science, and it's been hard. So I know like every first year teacher, because I've talked to a lot of teachers, has said that it will only get easier. And they hate to say this, but first year of teaching or any job, honestly, is the hardest.
Yeah.
And I feel like after you get out of college, like real life starts and you really become an adult. Like you have to pay your taxes, all of the payments go on to you, and you have so much responsibility and commitments. And I think that has like definitely overwhelmed me, but I've made sure to pray a lot about it. So yeah, 6th grade, I took this position thinking that I would just do it for this year and would want to do a lower grade like next year, or not even maybe the lower grade, but maybe being a helper, like a para or something. But it just shows that he's snoring, that we can only do so much on our own, and just how small we really are compared to God's big plan. Because I've honestly did everything in my own willpower to try to get into a lower grade, just because I thought that, okay, 6th grade's hard. Middle school is a hard year. And that age with the kids, their hormones, and just them like starting to truly find themselves, and they're not kids anymore, but they're really not like mature enough to be treated as adults. But I think that that's where they really struggle a lot. So I was very like not wanting to do it next year and uncomfortable. But so I tried everything in my willpower. I talked to a bunch of other teachers, my principal, paras, preschool teachers, like friends, family advice and all that stuff, and prayed a ton about it. But it turns out that nothing was open. There's no preschool job. There's no little kid, like younger grade, and there's no like other things that I could do in this school, and I wanted to stay at the school. But so my principal gave me the contract for next year, and it was a pretty good raise. But it's funny because like I just prayed. I was like, God, please open the doors that are for me, close the ones that are not, thinking that obviously a 1st grade position would open up because this is what I felt is best. And I'm like, I like the little kids. I'm very bubbly, and I love just the love that they have. And I was like, God, I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. So why is there no position, or why is nothing going in my favor? And it's funny because like I like had this realization that if it was easy, then you really wouldn't need God for it, and you would forget about him. But in these hard moments of these kids, like I need so much patience for them, and it's hard. It's a hard age, and it's a hard job to teach. I think that has really grown me in my relationship with God, and I think that this is where he needs me to be, at least for right now, just because I feel like if I could do it on my own, then God would not have the glory, and for next year teaching 6th grade, I know that, so there's a song called Joy in the Morning, and it's like, talks about how if you don't know like why you're going through something, then when it's done, you will see the whole big picture and it will be so clear. So I know at the end of this year, and I'm really starting to see why God placed me here. And it's because I'm like breathing so. It's been a long time since I've done a podcast, so maybe that's why. But it's just funny because I can definitely see why God, these little moments in my days with these kids, like why he wanted me to teach 6th grade. And I think it shifted my perspective of losing my own selfish desires. This is what I want, and I get to do this because I want to do this, but putting like my own needs down and saying, God, where do you want me to go? Knowing that's going to be uncomfortable, that's how I know that that's from God, because it's not easy and it's not in my comfort zone. So that's something that we can start, like, God knows more than what we do. Even though we think that we know a lot and we have everything figured out, because that's our human nature, it really does show. Like, with no doors opened up, nothing in the little grades, nothing in preschool, no other position open, just this 6th grade position for me next year. It's so clear. It just shows just how little I can do. Like, really the only thing that I did in this whole entire journey was just worry about it, and nothing changed. So I think if my mindset would have changed, I would have enjoyed every day. So I just think that that is a good intro to the advice that we're going to give you guys, is telling our own stories.
Definitely. Let's we have to let you guys hear him snore real quick.
Have you even been listening to me?
No, it was great. I have a lot to say, but go on. He's the best.
He is the best.
I'm kind of obsessed. But no, you're right. I think the biggest thing I take away from your story is that we think that we know ourselves so well. Like, you think that you know what you want with your future. I think that I know what I want to do with my life, but we don't even know ourselves that well. Like, God knows us so much better than we know ourselves, but we like to act like we're the experts of our own lives and like to make decisions without checking with him first, or we'd like to make decisions thinking that we're making a right decision when in reality we don't know, but God does know, and God knows us better. And it's like, speaking of some of the bad advice I talked about earlier, like you see all these podcasts talking about telling people to follow their hearts, follow your dreams, all this stuff, chase your dreams, all this stuff like that. And then I can't go on Instagram without seeing some dude flexing a Lambo or like his house or his Miami, all this stuff, all this money and all that stuff. It's like, you don't even know that God's plan for your life, and who knows? I don't know these people, so maybe that is God's plan for their life. But I'm willing to bet that God's plan for their life is so much greater than that Lambo, and so much greater than that 20-floor apartment in Miami. But the problem is that we think that we know ourselves so well and think that we know what will make us happy, when in reality we really don't know, but God does know. And I think I've been starting to learn that myself with doing these speaking gigs and traveling for these events. I used to always dream about this. Like I remember the second time we went to Dallas, we were downtown Dallas in the AT&T Discovery District. Coolest place we've ever done an event. Like, felt like we were in Times Square. They had this building with a big screen on it, buildings all around us. So much merch got moved that day. Like, we brought like 500, 600 shirts, and we left with like 20. I mean, I could do the numbers, but I don't really do numbers. but it was I do numbers enough to like report and whatnot. But anyways, TMI. Here's what I'm trying to say. We were at this pop-up, most successful event we've ever done. Buildings all around, and I like, this is a moment like it was like more than anything I ever even dreamed of. I was like, this is the best thing ever. Like, that's what I would have thought. I would have thought that in that moment, I would have thought that it was like the best thing ever. But the truth is, in that moment, I was stressed, just like any other job. I was locked in, but also I was in a bad mood for some of it, because the card reader, we had a line of like 6 people and our card reader stopped working, and I was just getting upset. And then there's just some other annoying things that happen at pop-ups that we could talk about on a different episode, but there's just still things that like were just annoying, and like I wasn't in that moment. I wasn't sitting there thinking like I made it, like the heavens weren't opening for me in that
Yeah.
moment. It was just like any other time, and it's like I thought that in that moment I thought I knew myself and knew how I would be in that moment, but the truth is in that moment it felt like I was at work at Walmart, or it felt like I was at work at any other job I've ever done, where it's like, no, I'm actually just here working. Like, yeah, the work I'm doing is for such a greater good, such a greater cause than any work I did at any other job, to be honest. But still, it's like I thought that I knew myself, but I didn't know, and like there's a song that says, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it all.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, you don't know, like we think we know what we want. We think we are wishing for the things that will make us happy, but the truth is you never know. And like, I'm not trying to sound ungrateful. That moment down in Dallas was amazing. Like it was amazing. But I literally thought that like the heaven gates would open up. Like I would be on like cloud heaven. Like I would like be in a whole different realm of happiness. But the truth is I really wasn't, It was really cool, but it wasn't like, spending time with you yesterday was probably honestly a better day than that day. It was a stressful day, but it was a great experience, and I'm very grateful, and I'm I thank God for that, because that is the business. That's going to be how we grow. But I don't know. It's just like you think you know what you want to do with your life, and you think it's going to make you so happy, but nothing of this world will actually fulfill you, and it's another thing. Oh goodness. I need to turn this phone off. That's another thing that drives me crazy. Another thing too is like every time I go speak at a school or whatnot, I always dreamed of the moment I'd get to speak for a student body or these kids or this school. I am literally like putting myself through the most intense pressure every time I go out and speak, because I'm not an extroverted person. I'm a very to myself, not very center of attention type of guy. And then I set up this event where hundreds of students are going to be there listening to me speak, and I put myself in this high pressure situation. And it's just like, gosh, I thought I was going to be on cloud nine in that moment, but the reality is I'm terrified in that moment and like feeling intense pressure in that moment, which my dad calls it living a little, and I do like that I get to live a little. And I'm grateful for those moments, but it's like I thought I would be in this amazing state of mind, feeling like I made it, feeling like, life couldn't get better. But the truth is, it's like, no, I'm actually intensely stressed. Or I don't want to even say stressed, but I feel intense pressure. Like, it's not like I'm so happy. I'm like, gosh, like, God, please speak through me, God, I have to, come on, God, show up for me in this moment. And, it's like, it's just not what I would have thought I would have been, because I don't know myself as well as I thought I did. And I'm willing to bet you don't know yourself as well as you think you did, but God knows you. And I'm going to switch this camera real quick and we'll
okay.
keep going.
Does that say something?
Okay. Oh, shoot.
Okay. So, that made me think like what you were saying, when it's like, okay, well, if I get here, then I'll be happy. Or if I get this job, if I get, like with me, if I am a first grade teacher, or if I get this position in my career, or if I make this much money, then I'll be happier. And it's like, there was this famous guy, and he said, he was like, and he was rich, and he was like, all I wish in life is for everybody to become rich, because then they can see that that's not actually happiness. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so crazy, because if you are poor, and our pastor said this, you're either rich or you're poor and you want to be rich, And so I think that really you cannot find happiness in what you're doing. The only way you can find happiness is in why you're doing it. And I think that that is such an eye-opening thing that I have to really work with, because I have not been having the best mindset with teaching, and Foster definitely helps me with that a lot, but how to change and switch my perspective to just be grateful for what I even have. Like, I'm so blessed that I get to be with kids, and truly it's a rewarding job. I'm very grateful that I have a car to drive, and that God blessed me with this job so I can earn money. And I'm just so grateful that I have these kids that are very independent, and they can do things on their own. So if I were to do the younger grades, it would be a lot more chaotic, a lot more lesson planning. So there's pros and cons with every single job. And so I think that that is something also that people look at, like when you talk about these people that post podcasts and they say like flexing their Lambo or all that stuff. Like, look at their actual life. This is a highlight reel. So just make sure that you have caution when you are looking at people's lives and what they're doing, because comparison is of the enemy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The thief of all joy is comparison, is what I've heard been said. But yeah, I think we should really get our thoughts together and do like a full episode on this topic and call it like the truth about success and money, because I'm not gonna sit here and act like I've experienced some crazy success or money, but I like I have experienced a little bit of success. Like maybe I wasn't dreaming big enough, because what I did down in Dallas, like I feel like I don't want to say most people can do it. No, everybody could do it, but it does take a lot. Like I don't want to minimize what happened in Dallas, but I don't also want to like overhype it and make you guys think that like that was like the best day or the biggest day ever. But I would say I've experienced a little bit of success, and I've experienced my dreams come true in some ways, and it's just crazy how it's not what you think. Like you think it's gonna be, like I said, like you're on top of the world, nothing could go wrong. This is as great as ever, but it's really not like that. You know what I'm saying?
That is so true. It's like you would not have even imagined this, where this brand has been going 5 years ago. But you're always going to be chasing more and more.
That's so true.
And that's where we are not satisfied. Like when I was student teaching, I was like, I cannot wait to get my own classroom, to be by myself. Now that I'm in my own classroom by myself, I want something different. And I want something different. It's like we're all chasing that. Like we're all on a hamster on a wheel.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that it all starts in your mindset and where you set your mind to. And it's in the Bible. Whatever you set your mind to, that's where things will grow. So if you set your mind on comparison, or things that you don't have, your fear is going to grow, anxiety is going to grow, things that are not good is going to grow. Yeah. Sorry, I was going to say one more thing, but whenever you're also talking about like how your feelings, like, oh, go with your feelings. If you're not feeling this, then it's not for you. But in the Bible, it says that your heart is deceitful and feelings fluctuate. So don't base anything off of your feelings. So like one day, if I have a terrible day in 6th grade at my job, I'm literally like, I'm going to quit. I do not want to do this anymore. This is not for me. I knew that this is not what I wanted to do. I did not sign up for this. But then when I have such a great day at teaching 6th grade, I'm like, I want to do this forever. And that is a roller coaster, and that is not what God wants for us. So make sure that you have wisdom to know what to follow in your actions. When you base your life on actions that are, godly, your feelings will follow, So if you are in a bad mindset, but you tell yourself, I'm happy today and I'm going to have a great day, then your feelings are going to follow that. So it's all really about where you set your mind.
Facts. Well, we got to get to Macy's parents' house for her dad's birthday. And then we also got to pack like 5 orders before we leave. So let's wrap this up. But guys, like I said, drop some comments of topics. We'll talk about dang near anything. Like
we can talk about anything probably all day.
Yeah, literally. So if you guys have something you want to hear about, if you have something that would entertain you, if you have questions that you want to get answered, anything like that, please comment them on this video. Like I'm telling you guys, if I see no comments, I'm gonna be very discouraged. But the other part of this is, I said all that earlier, but the other thing is that I really like doing episodes with you. I feel like it's so good for us. Yeah. So we'll probably start doing episodes again anyways. But we'll just kind of see where it goes. And, it's all in God's hands at the end of the day. I also want to say one more thing. You guys don't know this, or maybe you do, but the more you do social media and the more you learn, it's all rigged. Like, if you're not paying hundreds of dollars behind your videos, like, they're really not. There's a small chance they actually blow up. Like, there's people that have done it for free. And there are things that I do incorrectly when I upload. Like, people spend all this time putting hashtags and this and that and that and that. And I'm just like, I'm just going to post it and hope for the best. So, that also might play a factor into why we haven't been growing. But but that's how I've always done it, you know. So yeah, there's like some things that could help out, but the majority of these people you see blowing up are paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and like I'm just not interested in really doing that, you know. I'd rather put hundreds of dollars into this, or supporting mission trips like we've been doing, or we're even talking about donating some to the church, like even from the business, you know what I'm saying? So there's just a lot of other areas I'd rather spend money on than YouTube, because like, I don't know, I'm not trying to just blow up, and
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong for that, but maybe I'm not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be like, bro, if you blew your YouTube up, you'd probably end up making more money, and then you could do more good things. And I'm like, that might be true. You might have a point. No lie. But, but I don't know.
I think that the biggest piece of advice for this like short episode, just from the story that I shared in yours, is to know just how little we really have in making decisions. When you set your mind on God and let God take control of your life, it's going to be so much better than what you could even think of and fathom on your own. So for me, like to end off, it would just be, if you're in a season or a time in your life where things are hard, or you are questioning, why is God making me go through this? You might not understand right now why it is, but there is definitely, what is that word? There is purpose in your pain.
Yeah.
And that's what Foster says. But there is so much purpose and so much that can come out of it. And just to know, like, God's got us wherever we are. He will not give us too much that we can't handle without him. And to just look at life as, okay, it's an opportunity. What is, like, when it's hard, when something's hard and you're really impatient or struggling, it's like, okay, God, what are you trying to show me and teach me? Look at everything as a lesson. And I think that will really change your perspective and not live in your comfort zone. So that's something that I would say is a big piece of advice from this episode.
Oh, yeah. And I'm glad you're back on the podcast. It's been a while since Macy got on the podcast, so
Yes.
that might be a reason. It's been a while since y'all heard some real good advice. So there's been some good advice. There's some good advice that's been on here, but Macy's always got the best, for sure.
It's not me, it's God speaking.
True. And she had little Mav on her this whole episode.
And he's asleep.
Say bye, bud.
He's the best. We love him.
Oh, man. All right, love you guys. We're going to get these orders packed and shipped, and we'll catch you.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
We'll catch you next week. Let's see what we'll be talking about. Make sure you drop a comment, y'all.
Peace.